Yeah, that one's pretty easy. Someone really cleaned here. Like there's a lot of dust here and now it's like gone. Thank you, secret person who cleaned my... Alright, so let's review and then we'll practice. And then I'll show you, I guess, a shortcut to remember this. Okay, so the first part is on page 4. Page 4, page 4, page 4. You already did this, page 4.
I think I lost one.
Vertical angle. Wait,
Page 4. Okay, so first part is the angles. So you have a right angle, which is one right angle, acute, which is all three have to be acute, and obtuse is one obtuse angle. So key to this is if you want it to be called acute, all three angles have to be acute. The other ones are just one. Okay? Now, the second part is naming it by the sides. You have scalene, isosceles, and equilateral. I agree with Bruce in equilateral being the easiest one to remember because it's in the word. Equilateral. All sides are equal. Equilateral, right? It's in the word. Now, scalene, isosceles. Maybe brand new words that you've never actually heard until today or last week. Here's how I remember it. Isosceles starts with an I. So if I were to draw the most perfect capital letter I, right? How many sides of a capital letter I in isosceles are equal to each other? Two. Your top and bottom, if you draw it perfectly, the top and the bottom should be equal. So in isosceles, because it starts with an I, two sides are equal. Two sides of an I are equal. This one should be longer. Okay, so that's how I remember it. Isosceles, two sides are equal. Scalene, it's just a weird name, and it's a weird triangle. No sides are equal. So how do I remember the difference between isosceles and scalene? Literally, I think of the I and the two lines that are equal to in the I. So that means in a triangle, two sides are equal. That's literally how I remember it. Okay, so now let's jump over to page 8, and we'll practice before I teach you something semi-new. Yeah, page 8. Identify each triangle based on the sides. Here are your options. Equilateral, isosceles, scalene. Equilateral, how many sides are equal? All three sides. Isosceles, two sides are equal, and scalene, none. So if I look at number 2, I have a triangle that measures 3, 5, and 7. Are any of the sides equal? Nope. So we call it a scalene because none of the numbers match. So it's a scalene triangle. Okay. Number 3, I have a 3, 3, 5 triangle. How many sides are equal? 2. So what do we call it? Isosceles. We good? What number is equilateral? 5. So number 5 would be equilateral. We're good? Because you have one right angle on page 10, it makes the whole thing right. So just as long as you have one of them, all of it's a right. Number 3, 40, 40, 100. What do we call it when it's 40, 40, 100? Why is it called obtuse?
Because there's obtuse.
Yep, you have one obtuse. That's all I need. Just because you have one, the whole thing is obtuse. The whole thing is obtuse. I feel like there might be mistakes, so stay with me and correcting page 10. Okay, number 4, what do we call it? Okay, right. Make sure you have these correct. Okay, number 5, obtuse. Number 6, acute. 7, obtuse, 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 because of the 97. Number 8, acute. Number 9, right. 10, and 11, and 12. Obtuse. Number 12 is obtuse, obtuse, obtuse. All right, fix it. If you need to, fix it. Okay. Okay, so, Ben, I got one thing to teach you on page 11. One thing to teach you. Are we okay with naming them? Now I'm going to make it a little bit harder. Can you name it based on the angles and the sides? 11. So, what are my sides? I can have equilateral. I can have isosceles, or I can have scalene. Whoops, I spelled it wrong. Okay, so I can have equilateral, scalene, isosceles. So, to name a proper triangle, to name the most perfect triangle, you need one word from this list and one word from this list. So one word from the orange list and one word from the blue list. Okay?
In the same triangle?
In the same triangle. So the triangle has two names, just like you have a first name and a last name. Triangles have a first name and a last name. So, number 2, I give you the angles, so that's easy. What do we call number 2 based on the angles? Obtuse. Now, what do we call it based on the sides? There's no side measurements, though. I don't give you any side measurements. Why? So, are there any angles that are the same? No. So if there's no angles that are the same, then there's going to be no sides that are the same. You see how all these numbers are different? Then all the sides are going to be different. There's a relationship between angles and sides. So yes, you are correct when you call it a scalene. All right, number 3. What do we call it based on the angles? Acute. Now, any angles the same? No. So are any of the sides going to be the same? No. So what do we call it? Scalene. All right, this is the one I'm going to grade. Set timer for 2 minutes. So 2 names. Go slow. Go slow. Go slow. This is new. This is new, Gregory, so let's focus. Some of you already figured it out because it was on your homework the other day.
What did you figure out?
Okay.
What page is it?
16, guys.
Thank you very much.
Okay, determine if the three lengths can be the measures of sides of a triangle. Remember when we were constructing triangles and one of the triangles didn't meet? And it wasn't you, it was the numbers. So basically, it is said that if you, how do I write this? Like, the sum of the two smaller size is greater than the longest side. Okay, so the sum of the two smaller sides is greater than the longest side. The sum of the two smaller sides is greater than the longest side. So let's write that down, then I'll explain it if it doesn't make sense, and it's fine. The sum, what does sum mean? Addition, the total. So the sum of the two smaller sides. So I'm going to add, what am I going to add? The two smaller sides. Is greater than, alligator style, greater than the longest side. Okay? So sum means to add. It's the total. So what are the two smallest sides in number 1? 8 and 3. So these are the two smallest sides. So I'm going to add the two smallest sides. I'm going to add the two smallest sides, 8 and 3. And the two smallest sides have to be greater than. What symbol is greater than? So is the alligator eating the 3 or the 3 and 8 or the 9?
No, 3 and 8.
Yeah.
That symbol means greater than, right? So, stop. Gregory. 3 plus 8. What is 3 plus 8? 11. So is 11 greater than 9?
Yeah.
So that means that I can actually build this triangle. These 3 measurements make a triangle. It's not like a triangle that like doesn't connect. So how do I determine if I can make a triangle if I don't have a protractor, compass, ruler? You add the two smaller sides. Add the two smallest sides. All right, number 2. What are my two smallest sides? 13 plus 21, is that greater than 37? Question mark. So the two smaller ones, the two smaller numbers, I add them. What do I get when I add the two smaller numbers?
34.
Is 34 greater than 37?
No.
The alligator is not eating the bigger number, so this would be a no. So you take your two smallest numbers and you add them. And then you figure out if it's bigger than your longest one. Set timer for 2 minutes. So let's see if we can do the next couple ones. Add the two smallest numbers. Sometimes. All right. So the sum of the angles of any triangle is always 180. So if I have 60 plus 70 plus x, it has to equal 180. It is a triangle. So this is 130, right? You will in a second. It will equal 50.
Oh, I got that right.
These are pretty easy.
That's just what I read with that.
No. You will in a second. Not these. I mean, if you want to, you can.
For what, like, I don't want to show my work.
You will in a second. When I make them not hard. Sam, are we done?
Yes, I know we do.
Alana, did your dad go on the trip? Oh, that's cool. Did your mom go on a trip with Owen? You guys did that last year, right? That's cool. When your dad told me about that, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Fun. Fun. While you guys were snorkeling. Kayaking. All right. So, Darwin, do you have an answer for number 3?
I do.
Yes. What is it, Ben?
65.
For both of them? Maybe.
Well, we have x and x. So 2x plus 50 equals 180 because it's x and x. So minus 50 minus 50, that's 130 equals 2x. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals, they're both x's, so that means that they both have to be the same measurement.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 65.
You just said you got 65.
So you have x and x, that gives you 2x.
I got 110.
Well, good, because I have so much stuff to teach you today. Catching up.
Sorry.
We have our state test in a couple weeks, and there's still a lot of stuff I haven't taught you. So,
We said it wasn't this today.
all right, Greg, do you have number 4 done?
Number 4, of course.
What'd you get?
110.
110.
Oh yeah.
Good job.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Sam, do you have number 5 done?
Is it just x equals 180? I'm talking about
But you're copying me. You're not even doing it by yourself.
Oh, you got caught. Okay, so look at
Oh, we should be working faster than me. And then when I call on you, you have an answer. All right, Ben.
I get it now. How are you confused?
Bro, there's 2 x's and a right angle. The other one has 3 x's. We're not done.
So that means the right angle is 90, so you can start with that. Wow,
So smart.
What kind of problem do I write for number 6?
X, 3x equals 1. Wow.
Okay, here's something that you should put in the back of your head.
Oh.
Okay, number 6. All angles are equal. In every single equilateral triangle, no matter if it's big, small, if it's equilateral, it will always have the same angles. This magical angle.
I got 60.
Yes. So, in every equilateral triangle, all the angles will measure 60. No matter if it's ginormous triangle or a super small triangle. If it's an equilateral triangle, all the angles will always be 60. Always be 60. Equilateral triangles, all the angles are 60. All right.
Wait, I didn't get it. What did you do for x equals 2x plus 90.
All right.
Number 5 is 65, right?
Let's do some hard ones.
I thought number 5 was 3 yards.
Totally. I agree. Okay. Page 23.
Alright, dude.
Did you know that 23 is the bronze name? The bronze number. Who cares?
Okay, I would like you to do. No.
Yeah, Steph Curry is so bad.
5, 7, and 9. Let's do 5, 7, and 9.
He's not bad.
5, 7, and 9.